wanted to talk with you guys about how to measure and how how to understand how to measure marketing. And I'm going to use a content strategy as my example today. So let's start with that. So think about when you're doing marketing, the reason you want to have a simple you want to have someone who knows kind of what they're doing, or at least run your plan by someone who knows what they're doing, because you need to understand your hypothesis and why you think it'll work. If you don't have a good feeling about your hypothesis, you'll lack confidence, and it'll be very hard to execute. And if you do, you're going to do it half-heartedly. Find a good best practice. Probably one of the easiest things to do is find a similar company as you, and then just copy what they do for now. And I'm going to tell you how you're going to become different. Don't worry. But copy what they do. I'm not talking about copying their designs. I'm talking about copying what they do. Are they sending out emails? You send out emails. Does it seem to be working for them? Then it'll probably be the kind of thing that'll talk to your customers too if you're going after the same audience. So keep it simple. There's a book called Steal Like an Artist. I recommend it. There, nobody has a copyright. Nobody has a patent on email marketing or SEO or anything like that. So find out what they're doing. Are they showing up high in searches? You try to do the same. Maybe that's a good, possible plan. All right, so content strategy. So you have your hypothesis. Basically, your hypothesis, your plan, your strategy is basically, think about it this way. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. And I can't remember who said that. I think, I know Mike Tyson said it, but I think he got it from a Prussian general called von Moltke, I think. Von Moltke. Super important that you know who said this. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Okay, good enough. Hypothesis, you have your hypothesis. Basically, it's like your plan, right? Your plan. This is what I'm going to start out doing, but I call it a hypothesis because you don't know if it's going to work or not. So it's better to call it a hypothesis even though it's just a plan. A plan makes it sound like, all right, this plan's going to work. Well, you know what? Your plan's not going to work. Planning is, that's another one. Plans are useless. Planning is essential. So you're going to throw your plan away. You're going to adjust it based on your measurement. So you take your hypothesis and you say, okay, we're going to make this stuff this month, and it's going to go out to these places. And we're going to spend this much on advertising and this much on SEO. And then we're going to get, 500 new signups, right? Cool. That's a great idea. But what actually happens is you get like 5 signups, right? Instead of the 500 you wanted. And so you're like, okay, what are we going to do? Something needs to change. So you change your plan. You take this, you start asking questions, and you say, okay, why do we only get 5? And then you realize some things. You look at what you did and you see the results of each thing. And then you realize, oh, here's why we only got 5. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Sorry. We're going to talk about how to see this in the funnel shortly. All right, but let's go back a little bit. Let's just say, hey, what do you want? So let's talk about, we're doing a content strategy, let's say, right? So you want to say, okay, what do you want? Well, I want customers to start to think like me. And I want them to, when they're ready, I want them to buy from me, right? And that's a really, really solid, this is probably the most basic kind of goal you're going to get, but say it in English. Don't be like, I want, this much, KPI, TYD, TDY, whatever. Just say, hey, I want customers to start to resonate with what we're saying, right? Well, there are 2 ways to do that. One of them is to say what resonates them right now with them right now, which is not always easy to know. And the other way to do it is to say, hey, you know what? We're just going to start teaching you. We're going to start teaching our client base. And when we start to teach them, then they're going to start to think like us because we're going to be seen as the experts. And when we teach them, they're going to think we're the only ones who know what we're talking about because we get them, they get us, and they know that we're the people who can work with them. We understand. So you want them to start to think like you, but then you want them to buy from you too when they're ready. So let's look at these. So the first one, customers start to think like you. So you educate them, right? And then how do you measure, how do you educate them? Well, they're going to read your email, social, blog, etc., whatever, right? They're going to do that. Well, then, then the obvious thing that you're going to measure is email interactions, right? Email. You're going to measure your social interactions. You're going to measure your blog visits and your time on page and things like that. Down here, it's like, buy from you when they're ready. So you have to stay in front of them. So you have to do all these things regularly. You want to stay in front of them regularly with all this good stuff you're going to give them. Okay, so to stay in front of them regularly, that's really on you. That's for you to be publishing regularly. And we talk about that in another video. Okay, so let's get to the fun part, because the funnel, right? So I'm going to move this over to the side so you're not distracted. Let me talk to you for a second. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, so I forgot what I was going to say. All right, stand. Oh yeah, so remember up here when we said 500 new signups, but we only got 5. Why? Well, so if we go down here, if you think about it, it's like a funnel. It's like how many people see your ads or SEO. You might have like, 5,000 people see your ads, or if you're doing your SEO well, or you're doing keyword ads or whatever, they go to your site, they go to your landing page, the one that sells to them, right? The landing page that is so focused on them and what they, their needs, that is the page that sells them. Or they just go to your website, right? They just end up going to that page maybe, and they go to your website, and then they end up on your email list because they've visited a couple times. They think, wow, these guys are smart. They get on your email list and they start getting all that thought leadership where you're telling them, hey, here's what matters for you. Here's how to do this. Here's, whatever useful content, right? And then after a while, after a few months, they're on your email list, then they buy. And so the shape of this funnel is what tells you, 500 new signups is what we wanted. We only got 5. We spent like, I don't know, $5,000. Well, all right, so now we spent $5,000 up here, right, to get people to the website. And so, by the way, I don't recommend you send anybody to your homepage. Usually you don't want to do that. Usually the homepage is so general that you might have some products. You want to send them to a product page. You want to talk about a product in an ad. Send them to the product page. A lot of times you don't want to just do brand advertising unless you're lacking trust in the industry or you're brand new in your area and you just want people to know you're there. And that's sometimes a limited time, right? All right, so ads or SEO. So you put in $5,000 up here. So you have like it's 100. No, it's $1,000 per lead you just paid because you spent $5,000. You only got 5 leads. So $1,000 per lead. Most of us don't want to spend that much for a lead. Maybe if you're a melanoma victim and you're a law firm and you're trying to get melanoma victims that pay off that net you like 5 million, I don't know, or a million or whatever. Then $1,000 per lead is probably just fine if it's a qualified lead. And let's say like, I don't know, then you have to do the math. Like let's say one quarter of them end up being a client. So really you're paying $4,000 per lead. But if you make 250,000 off of them, you're still coming out ahead. So anyway, that's the kind of math, right? So $5,000, you only got 5 leads. But you think about it and you're like, wait a second though. We're asking them to go to our website, join our email list, and then buy in the first month. That's probably not going to happen. So you're like, okay, well then this builds, right? This accumulates. This is accumulative. The other thing is you might see something like this. I'm going to turn off the video now and just get down here and draw a little more. All right, so what you might see is this. You might see a funnel that's a little more shaped like this. right? Something like that. And what you see here, and so you're looking for this, right? You want to know that this exists. This is why you have to measure stuff, right? Because what you see is you spent this much and the funnel goes down too far, let's say. Now, this actually is probably the way a funnel normally looks, but what you're looking for is those drastic moves in, and you say, okay, well, so something happened in between here and here, right? In between here and here, something happened that we need to fix. So now, before, all right, so now you're saying, well, was our ad saying the wrong thing? And so people went to the website and they got the wrong, it wasn't what the ad promised. Because that'll do that, right? And that'll increase your bounce rate massively on your site. It'll decrease your engagement. And then, or maybe, I mean, that's usually it's a bad fit between the ad and the website, or they get to the website and the website is just garbage, right? Maybe it's not even good. Maybe even if you got the right people, they go to your website and it would be garbage. And so, or they wouldn't trust it, right? It looks like a scam site, or, it just doesn't look well designed. There are no faces on um, on the website. It looks like just no owners of the business are listed or anything like that. For some reason, it just lacks trust. Maybe you need testimonials and you just don't have them, and that's just causing people. They're looking for testimonials, right? And so that's why you want to look at the funnel, because the funnel will tell you all these things. It'll tell you where things are dropping off. And then what you want to ask is, the next question you want to ask is this a problem with the medium or the message? And that's usually what you're talking about with people, is the medium or the message. So, and there's like this phrase, the medium is the message, right? Um, but really for our purposes, let's just say the medium might not be the right medium and the message might not be sending the right signal. So, uh, examples. Let's say you're B2B, you're selling to other businesses, and you're on Twitter during the day. Let's say you're B2B and you're on LinkedIn, but you're always advertising on the weekends, and nobody's on LinkedIn on the weekends because LinkedIn isn't popular on the weekends for people who are employed. Message. Maybe you didn't do a very good job understanding your audience, like in the other video where we, talked about the Meet Maria. And so your message is off. You're not really talking to them very well. Maybe the ad is making a promise, writing checks that the website can't cash. So, or maybe you're just offending people, maybe you're just talking in a way that's condescending or something like that, right? Maybe you're being too, silly about something that's a serious topic. I don't know. So, but these are all things you want to consider. Let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about here. Let me move around the page, just make sure there's nothing I missed. I think that's it. So this is why measurement is so important. And it's so important to have a discrete funnel. One of the things a lot of small companies, I guess I'll say this one last thing, a lot of companies make the mistake of creating a funnel that has a bunch of inputs and you can't really track it, or sometimes just by necessity, the sales cycle is super long, like in a B2B kind of thing. And so it's not always easy to tell, what contributes to the leads. You just kind of, at that point, the business development folks have to just kind of know that, and they have to have some insights. But the good thing is, if you have it's a lot easier with B2B when they can buy right from the website, because then you can see everything right there. But with a salesperson, you're kind of trusting that they're having a good relationship, that they have good social skills, and that's a lot. That's a lot of, it's a lot of trust, and it's kind of a bummer that you can't measure that a little better. But it's just kind of that's life. So make sure that if you're trying to make a discrete funnel that says like, hey, here's our ads or SEO, here's our campaign, right? Like campaign specific. So this is like, all right, we're a gutter company. We're selling gutters. This is the gutter funnel. We sell gutter services, gutter, install services. And so your ads are about gutters. Your SEO is selling gutters, right? Your website is not, you're not sending them to your website per se, you're sending them to your landing page, right? And maybe they join an email list. You can have them sign up for a coupon or whatever, and then you can follow up with them, or you just have them buy on the site. You just say, hey, contact somebody, right? And so you have like a friendly face on there, contact George, he'll give you a quote or whatever, right? And and so you're keeping that funnel tight. George gets, oh, and you'll have a phone number that's just, for that, right? So it's like a phone number that's like um, you buy a phone number that's specifically for gutters. It doesn't cost that much, but it helps you measure and make sure that you know that, hey, these phone calls are attributable to the gutter campaign. And so this is how you attribute things. This is how you keep a tight funnel. And this is why measurement's so important. So if you have any questions, let me know. I really enjoyed talking with you, and my voice is about to go. But let me just say goodbye in person here. All right. Yeah, if you have any questions, add them below, and then let me know if you need any help, need any advice, and I'd love to help.